Welcome to The Creative Present, a show that's dedicated to expanding your creative self-expression and at the same time, getting your projects done. And I'm your host, Joshua Townsend. Directing your energy flow. When it comes to creative expression, energy flow is everything. Whether you're an actor on stage, or a writer at your desk, or if you're working on a sound stage with a crew of 100, or even navigating your day-to-day life, your ability to direct your energy makes all the difference. But it's not just about being able to direct your energy, it's about your ability to do that at will. At will means that it's under your control. You decide when, where, how your energy flow is going to flow and in what direction, and it doesn't make a difference what the external circumstances are or what's going on in your inner life or your outer life. So let's explore what that really means, why it matters, and how you can practice this in your art and in your day-to-day life. So energy flow. There are two main directions that creative energy will flow, and that is introversion and extroversion. So energy flows happen in both of these directions. What does it look like? In introverted energy, this is when your energy moves inward. It's reflective, it's self-contained, it's focused predominantly on your innermost thoughts, feelings, sensations. So I'd like you to think of it or relate to this introversion or introverted energy as an in-breath, an inhale, right? Introversion, inhale. So there's that connection. And I guess the visual on it would be, the classic, writer writing at their desk in this little room with like a window and a wooden chair, right? That's sort of that vibe, archetypically speaking. The extroverted energy, this is when the energy is moving out. It's expressive, it's expansive, it's focused on connecting with the external world. So think of it as an exhalation, right? To exhale, and that's your out breath of energy. Think of it as like an actor on stage and being watched by thousands of people and they're communicating, brilliantly, or an opera singer. So the question comes up is, well, which is better? Is it better to have introverted or extroverted energy? Which is going to help me more? And let me ask you this question. Which is better, the inhalation or the exhalation of a breath? I mean, it's crazy, right? When you think about it like that, both are required. Both are needed equally because both are important, and without both, you'll be out of balance and or dead. So introversion energy and extroverted energy are complementary. They're not opposing at all. To express yourself, whether it's in a creative project or a personal interaction, you're actually going to need to have both directions of energy flow available to you as you need at will. If you have too much extroversion, what does that look like? Well, you risk losing touch with your inner self. You become overly dependent on the external feedback or the responses from the people around you, people, places, and things around you. So I'm sure the example of that is, the uncle who's just sitting there and talking and never really says anything, and you don't even know if they're even listening to themselves. And it just feels out of balance. If you have too much introversion energy, that feels like you're stuck in your own loop, right? You're disconnected from the other people around you, and you're kind of like locked up in your own head. And there's little to no energy coming out because all of the energy is pulled in. So again, that would look like maybe you experience that with some relative who doesn't say anything at any point during a dinner conversation. And when they do, they just go, oh yeah, everything's fine. Mm-hmm. So the sweet spot is learning to be able to access these two energy flows at will as needed so they can work together seamlessly. I mean, think about an inhale and an exhale. Both are flowing back and forth. And I feel like this is what people mean when they say they're able to read the room. To read the room means that I'm able to go into a room and understand the dynamics of the room, what's going on with the people in that room, and then I can interact with that room, with the people in that room, in a way that is in alignment with what's going on in that room. room. An example of that. If I go into a library, I need to be able to read the room of a library. So I see that people are talking in a certain way with a certain kind of volume, the body language is a certain way, and I can interrelate with those kinds of people, with those kinds of behaviors. I could talk to the librarian, have a sort of an exchange with her, and everything would be in harmony with that room. If I went into a pub in Ireland, then that would be a completely different room to read, and the people's actions and reactions and behaviors and the loudness of the speech and everything else, and I'd be able to go in there and interact with those people in a way that's also in harmony with that room. And if I have the ability to do both of those, to go into both of those rooms and interact in a seamless way so that I'm part of that milieu, then I'm in the direction of being able to do either at will. As I give both of those examples, it's important for you to notice which one do you feel more in alignment with, which one is more akin to you. And that's really important for you to build that self-awareness. So the tricky part here for the artist, for the creative, is being able to do this at will. And at will means I can do it at any time based on any circumstances, under any kind of conditions. So what does doing something at will look like? It looks like having it under our conscious control. We choose the direction of the energy, whether it be inward or outward, and we can change it up at any time. We also have the ability to be adaptable. We can shift that energy flow based on the situation, so we can change it up as needed, whether it's a quiet moment of reflection or repose, or we're actually performing in front of a live audience and it's filled with energy and enthusiasm. And the last part, which is equally as important as anything, which is it sustainable? Can you maintain this energy flow for as long as you need it without feeling like you're burning out or losing focus? And that's a question of stamina and energy flow. The levels of mastery. So we have different levels of mastery. So we have the everyday life, and that's doing things like we talked about in other situations, starting off with low stakes, no stakes. So start small, practice that energy flow in casual conversations at the gym, while running errands, at the grocery store, at the post office, where you're having day-to-day interactions, an Uber driver, and everything is casual. There's no long-term relationship here. It's just easy. Then you can take it up a notch to the relationship. So can you balance the energy flow during maybe a little bit of a tiff around where you're going to have dinner that night, or some old patterned sort of response that is agitating to either partner, so that you can work through these in a very foundational way without stretching yourself too far. And then once you feel comfortable at that level where you can really be present for the other person and still work through the possible confrontation, then take it up to high stakes situations, which is again more challenging situations when you're at high stakes situations within a relationship, continuing the relationship, ending the relationship, getting a job, auditioning for something, putting your professional career on the line. So here's some practical tools that you can work with in your day-to-day way to ask yourself and to keep yourself enlivened. Do a check-in every once in a while, 2 or 3 times a day. Take a moment to notice, where is your energy naturally flowing? Is it more introverted or is it more extroverted? And then go ahead and ask yourself, am I focused? And which energy flow am I focused on? And is it in balance? Meaning, am I stuck in this position for a long time? Or is it something that I'm doing that I'm actively choosing to replenish myself? The next thing is balancing your energy in conversations. When you're talking with someone, practice sensing both your inner state of reality, your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations, as well as staying in touch with the external cues that you're noticing in your everyday life, the other person's tone, their body language. Again, that's part of that reading that room situation. And then being able to shift your focus back and forth in a dynamic way that keeps the conversation very alive and very stimulated, and you very connected to your I am state. The next one is practice being more present. Being really present for yourself is how it starts. Am I alive in this room? Am I present to something that I haven't noticed before? And that includes sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. I can feel my butt in the chair. I can see the wooden panels in this room. I can feel my skin and the temperature. I can feel a small shift in the airflow across my left cheek. All these things are practicing being present and available. And the last one is when you've challenged yourself to be in a high stakes situation, making sure that you have these foundational elements practiced enough so that you can navigate through that high stakes moment. So put yourself in situations where you're able to manage your energy flow and at the same time be grounded in your day-to-day interaction with the other person. When you can direct your energy flow at will, you can unlock a new level of creative freedom because you're no longer at the mercy of your environment, your emotions, your self-doubt, the people, places, and things in your environment. Instead, you become a master of your own energy, capable of creating, connecting, and expressing yourself in any situation. So to give the brief summary, understanding the basics of introversion, inward, inhale, or extroversion, exhale, outward expression. Both of those are essential, just like breathing. We need to have both in our life. Second, wanting to really find that level of flow between the inner and the outer, between the introversion and the extroversion. And we don't strive for balance in the moment. We strive for balance in larger time frames, for the day, for the week, for the month, and constantly checking in with yourself, like, how does this feel? Am I in a place? Am I overexerting? Am I under? Am I retreating out of pain? Or am I coming back to myself in order to replenish? Very different. Start practicing doing things at will. Start off small and then escalate your way up to higher and higher challenges. And finally, experiment. Use these exercises in your day-to-day life as well as in your creative sessions, creative rehearsals, and even in your performances. When you master the creative flow and you master this energetic creative flow at will, it won't be exclusively just for your creative expression. It's about living your life more fully in a moment-to-moment reality. When you can direct your energy with intention, you can show up as your best possible self, no matter where you are or what you're doing. So, in your day-to-day life, as well as in your creative processes, start paying attention to your energy flow. Notice it, practice it, and over time, you will find that you can direct your energy at will, just like the true creative master that you are. Thank you for listening. If you love what you're listening to, please subscribe and then share with fellow creatives. For more, go to joshuatownsend.com.